All right, lesson two. Let's get back into it. As you guys have realized, the title of this is Battling Loneliness. Loneliness, sorry. If you watch lesson one, you're probably like, why is he still going on about loneliness? We're going to get into that. That's the whole point of the lesson. But I want you to realize that this concept is still, right, mental. So we're transitioning still from how mental relates to relationships because that's why we started with mindset. So independence and loneliness, right? Solitude, as we've said, is linked to self-confidence and emotional resilience, being comfortable with the person in the mirror, with the man in the mirror, with the person in your skin, not being afraid. And again, that generates the ability to have control and understand how to reflect regularly. That makes you dangerous. Loneliness, though, solitude and loneliness are different. And again, I link solitude and independence if you're confused by the title. But loneliness comes from a lack of independence, an inner questioning. I want you to think about this specific sentence. Loneliness is a result of inner confrontation from a lack of identity. How many times do you think this is the case for you? How many times do you feel alone, but in reality, you aren't alone. You're with yourself, but you're too afraid to actually have a conversation with yourself. Let's say you're driving to work, right? And you're feeling lonely, right? Because you haven't talked to anybody. Maybe you're living alone. Maybe you just don't have a lot going on. And you're kind of just sad or depressed. How often do you turn the music on? How often do you drown out the conversation that could be going on in your head? Because it's only from people that don't accept that they are their own person and they think they're just watching the world like on a movie screen, but instead you're interacting with yourself more than anyone else. The people that get that concept down and are regularly reflecting, another point of our journal, makes you better because you can actually understand and also like the person that you see more than anyone else. You probably don't know who you are or haven't taken action, so you probably recoil when you're faced with confrontation of yourself. You expect other people to define you, but a lot of times other people don't really care, so they're taking advantage of you. I'm just going to be honest, that's how it is. I had to let that sink in there. But you probably don't actually know who you are. You think you're maybe the life of the party or maybe the quiet kid in the corner, right? But in reality, how do you know that's actually you? Is it because other people have naturally labeled you as that and so they've not talked to you, or they maybe put all their cameras on you when the music comes on? Like, do they define who you are, or do you? Who is choosing to be the person that interacts with others, right? And so again, the same concept, loneliness versus solitude. Solitude is a mastery of loneliness. Solitude, most people think it's like grim, right? It's a sad, somber concept, but solitude is actually strength. Solitude is strength of oneself. It's saying, I don't need anyone else. I can do what I do by myself, and I am happy with that. It's a mastery of being alone, and it's a respect for the experience, right? A mastery of loneliness. It's a mastery of, so basically the opposite, right? You've become independent and you don't need to question who you are because you've done it enough where you know who you are and how you would respond to situations. A lot of times you have to sit there and think, okay, what should I do about this? But if you don't have any doubt about who you are, you're just going to act and you're going to look confident, right? Loneliness is tough because it gives you an opportunity to connect deeper. You turn on the music on your drive to the work or at the gym or when you're on the treadmill, instead of saying, I don't like the pain, I don't like running, right? But I have to do it. And you got this, right? You want to tell yourself you're going to quit, and so instead you drown out the noise, you distract yourself because you can't face that reality. When you embrace solitude, this can severely improve your mental clarity and boost your emotional resilience. So in order to do that, ask, right? What can you learn or do for yourself right now? Like, you might be dealing with financial burden, right? Or maybe you're not working out as much as you should. What can you do for yourself now to allow yourself to be more comfortable with that fact? Because you're not going to change it right now. There's no magic pill that you can swallow that's going to make it all better. But how can you be comfortable with it? Because that's going to allow you at least the space to start taking action. Lack of connecting with oneself or paying attention means you have all the difficulties in life. You're fat or you're obese because you can't, the voice that says you're too fat, you can't work out, you don't have what it takes to get up early and go to the gym, that voice is going to win 100% of the time. Maybe you're sexually overstimulated, or you're watching porn, or you're just can't connect with other people and you're scared to go interact with the opposite sex because you don't feel like you can actually do it because you don't know who you are and you don't know how you would interact with other people. And so you have bad relationships with others and with other substances a lot of times. Sometimes this doesn't have to be drugs or alcohol, it can be sugar, right? It can be caffeine. It can be something to make you feel good in the moment because you can't accept that you're tired or you don't want dopamine, right? So you want to take on those extra stimulants to be able to fill some sort of void in your life because in reality, it's not a void. It's something that you could just answer and get completed for yourself, but you don't want to have that conversation. And so these things will distract it for you, as well as what I just mentioned. And so there's a lack of progress because while you could be doing all this work instead to fix your situation, you're too scared to have a conversation with somebody that you are, with literally, like it's yourself. And I want you to really, really grasp that concept because that's going to be important to everything we do and where we go with the community from this point forward. So does being alone cause loneliness? I want to show you my little picture here. I'm going to shrink myself down. But my answer is yes and no. And I'll tell you why. It comes when you are alone. Being alone comes when you're alone. It's in the word loneliness. But it's not the cause of it. Loneliness happens because you are alone with your thoughts and you're not comfortable with the thoughts. So the self-dialogue or fear of oneself or lack of enjoyment from self, being afraid of the fact that you're going to be bored, let alone what you might tell yourself, is what makes you lonely because you don't like who that person is, right? And especially when that person can't enjoy themselves as much as other people could potentially in the short term provide to you. So you're seeing things on social media, people having fun, and that's making you feel lonely because you don't think you can provide the same amount of fun and satisfaction in your life from being with yourself. So you'll turn to porn too because you can't connect with others in the same way. And just a bunch of communities, right? Because unlike our community that is actually productive, you'll find, gaming or like short-term satisfaction from, groups that, don't really embrace their lives as well because it's the only way to connect other than with yourself. You find people that share in that loneliness. I'm not saying that all gamers are lonely, right? I've gamed in the past too, but I want to say that traditionally they don't interact with other people as much as they should. Solitude is your decision and your ability to distinguish from your personal comfort. That was worded weirdly. Let me reword that. It's your ability to distinguish your personal comfort, right? And identify how that personal comfort makes you feel. It can even be done with others around. You don't have to break up with your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever it is, to be in a relationship or to be solitude and embrace that concept, right? Solitude comes from you mastering who you are while you're in a relationship, while you're not. But to be honest, it's better to do it alone. Spending time alone gets easier the more you do it because it expands into new things. And let me explain how that, interacts with the last point, right? The more you spend time alone, it gets easier. And in order to do that, it can affect your life if you are in a relationship, but you have to start identifying and giving yourself time to be alone. And in order to do that, you need to start picking an activity each day and just do it without digital or social distraction. If you have a partner right now or someone in your life that spends a lot, maybe it's a roommate or that wants to do everything with you or whoever it is, just say, I'd like to have this hour for myself. It's going to be really important for my development. I know that we connect a lot and I love you a lot, but I need to have this time because I'm starting to lose a little bit of who I am and I want to find that again. If you say that to them, they're going to understand if they really care. So I need 30 to 45 minutes in the morning to just have my coffee and to think, right? Or to plan. I need my evening walk or my morning walk or just my reading time, whatever it's going to be. But start finding some time that you can identify to be yours and that is away from other people. Time at work where you maybe have an AirPod in or something isn't time alone because you have music playing. It's time where you can actually be comfortable, like I've said, with your thoughts as well as being away from people. How do you master loneliness, right? Well, stop relying on social media. The fear of missing out is crazy nowadays. My parents, your parents, they probably never had to deal with this in the past because they didn't get to see by scrolling something in their palm what everyone was doing every hour of the day and making them feel bad. They just said, well, other people are probably dealing with the same shit that I am, and so they just are fine in that fact. But in reality, when you can see everyone having fun, even though that's just a temporary snapshot of their life, you identify that as being the case all the time for these people. I'm not having fun right now. I have to record this course. I have to do editing. I have to do a bunch of different projects. But does it look like I'm having fun? It might, but I'm not always doing it. So again, you need to start deleting things that are distracting. Back to the mindset. Dating apps, right? I want you to have space to connect with yourself, because how do you know, or again, you don't have to break up with your partner, but start finding space from the dating or further engagement until you figure out more of who you are. Because how do you know who you are and what's best for you until you even have that space? Because if you're deciding if you want to start dating or not, how do you know if you should? How do you know if you're at the best point in your life until you have that confrontation? So again, no porn. That's non-negotiable. You should not be doing that, because it severely grabs onto you, and it makes you question your confidence, because it makes you feel alone, because you realize soon after that nobody is there giving you that pleasure. And that's the hardest part to grasp. And when you're feeling lonely, ask yourself, why? Who do I miss? What would help me connect? And in order to do that, start turning inward and asking yourself these questions to be productive, right? You want to find a productive social life with people that are also on the same mission. And so the Discord and the community here is going to be full of people on the same journey. And I'd really encourage you, if you're questioning, a bunch of things about yourself, who you are, what you stand for, what's best for you in this current point in your life. Maybe it's about a relationship and stuff too. But I would really turn inward to the community to find those answers. But first, try to do it for yourself. And then finally, make social events deliberate and calculated, and also know when to break away. Stop being the life of the party if that's not who you want to be. And if you're sitting in the corner all the time, don't let people push you there. Be the person you want to be, and if your friends don't like that, then they can F off, But know when to break away too. Don't be controlled by other people dragging you out of the house when you have shit to do. And don't be the person that's, just, I can text him and he'll be here in 30 minutes, right? Unless it's an emergency. Take the time to respect yourself. With that said, again, another lesson. I know you guys are waiting for the tips on how to actually start interacting with people, and that's coming very quick. It's about to show up here in the community. But again, really driving this point home that you are your own person, and interacting with yourself first before others is the most important part of social settings, and mastering the mindset before you can go out and connect. That's going to make your life exponentially easier in the end, right? I want you guys to have the best interactions, the best relationships, and the best connection in life. And that's going to come from understanding who you are and what you can put out into the world. I'll see you guys in lesson 3.